Welcome to the world of TrendPod AI. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something really crucial, something affecting millions, especially if you're dreaming of owning a home in India, one of the fastest growing economies out there. We're going to explore the surprising state of India's housing market. It's this place where you see luxury real estate just booming, absolutely flying, but at the same time, the middle class, they're facing this escalating affordability crisis. It feels almost impossible for many. It's a huge contrast, really challenges those traditional ideas about owning a home.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is how these two things, luxury booming, affordability plummeting, how they can exist side by side, and maybe even, feed off each other. So our mission today in this deep dive is to sort of pull back the curtain. We want to uncover the real reasons for this widened gap, understand not just what's happening, but really why it's happening. And crucially, what does this big shift mean for anyone hoping to buy a home across the country?
Okay, let's dive into that. Let's unpack this with some numbers because honestly, they're pretty staggering. There was this recent analysis, right, combining data from the National Housing Board and urban income estimates. And it found something, kind of mind-blowing. Even if you're in the top 5% of earners in urban Maharashtra, you'd need to save for, get this, 109 years.
109 years.
Yeah, 109 years to afford an average-sized house in Mumbai. Just think about that. Over a century of saving. Even for relatively high earners, it sounds more like a family saga than a mortgage plan.
And Mumbai is often the extreme, but it's not just Mumbai, is it?
No, absolutely not. If you look at other big cities, the picture's still really challenging. For those same top 5% earners, Gurgaon, that's 64 years of saving. Delhi, still 35 years. Bengaluru, right there with 36 years. And the analysis assumes, a pretty standard home size, about 1,200 square feet. The calculation basically looks at the spending of top urban households, projects their savings against average property prices. It really gives you a clear, stark picture of how out of reach homeownership has become. Those numbers really are startling. They paint a picture of immense pressure. Right. But, how much of this is just, India's economy growing versus a real crisis? Where's the line?
That's a really important question. And the numbers, they do tell a story of imbalance, I think. Look at this. Between 2020 and 2024, average household income grew, but at 5.4% annually. Property prices in that exact same period, they surged at 9.3% annually.
Right, that's a big difference.
It's a huge gap. And it's had a direct impact. Affordable homes are, they're disappearing. The supply of homes priced at, say, 1 crore rupees or less, it fell by 36% just between 2022 and 2024. So this isn't just about things getting more expensive. It's fundamentally changing social mobility. That traditional step for the middle class owning a home, it's being pulled away. That could really cement wealth gaps for generations.
A 36% drop in just 2 years.
Yeah.
That's massive. Which cities are seeing the worst of this vanishing affordable stock?
Hyderabad saw a really staggering drop, 69% decline in affordable homes available. Mumbai wasn't far behind, 60%. Even places like Bengaluru and Pune saw big drops, 33% and 32%. And, it's not really an accident. Developers are focusing more on premium projects.
Because the margins are better.
Exactly, higher profit margins. Building for the middle class is just less attractive when land costs, construction costs, borrowing costs are all rising. And look at the EMI to income ratio. A chunk of your salary goes to your home loan. India's average is now 61%. It was 46% back in 2020.
See, 61%.
Yeah. So for every 100 rupees earned, 61 goes to the EMI, leaves much less for everything else. And the price to income ratio averages 11 across India. A healthy number is usually seen as 5 or less.
And Mumbai is even higher.
Mumbai's 14.3, Delhi's 10.1. It just highlights this unsustainable gap. For many, buying a home now means really sacrificing lifestyle, maybe even necessities.
And this isn't just abstract numbers, right? It's hitting real people, real lives. I was reading about Vikas Dilawari, an architect, dedicated his life to restoring heritage buildings, won loads of awards. You'd think someone like that, buying a home, would be straightforward.
You would assume so, yes.
But no. He had a nightmare trying to buy his own place, a 2 BHK. The project stalled, land issues, just an ordeal. Or the Pashmarwala's Zainab bin Hussain spent a year and a half looking for a 3 BHK. They budgeted 2.5 crore rupees initially.
Okay.
Ended up spending double that. twice their budget. And when you remember, the average middle-class income in metros is maybe RA's $35,000 a month.
Right.
It just shows how impossible it seems without some kind of, I don't know, miracle or drastic measures.
And these pressures, they're definitely reshaping how younger generations think about homes. We're seeing a real shift. Millennials, Gen Z, they often prioritize flexibility, experiences, maybe over owning property.
Like renting is becoming more of a long-term choice.
For some, yes. Take Karan Kumar, works at Google, 39. He rents a whole floor in Delhi for 1.5 lakh a month. He sees buying more as, an emotional thing, maybe not the best financial move right now. Or Raghav Malik, 30, runs a creative agency. His motto is literally rent, not buy. He talks about this Airbnb hangover, likes the idea of moving around, not being tied down by a huge mortgage.
So it's this mix, financial reality pushing people out, but also some are actively choosing a more fluid lifestyle.
Exactly. And, a lot of young people saw serious job cuts, economic wobbles during the pandemic. It created this maybe deep-seated fear about financial stability, so they value freedom to travel, change jobs, not be locked into one huge asset. Remote work reinforces that too. But it's not everyone that's important. Some, like Anwish Patnaik, 29, he still plans to buy in 5-10 years, sees it as key for long-term stability, maybe even extra income later. And Sapna Surendran, she bought a place in Bandra as a rainy day house. It pays for itself through rent now, gives her security. So yeah, the struggle is real, but some are finding ways, often seeing property more as an investment first.
Okay, so we've seen the scale of the problem, heard the personal impacts, but let's dig into the why. What are the systemic issues driving this? Pushing the middle class out while luxury booms.
Right. One really significant issue is the flow of, what's often called black money or undeclared income into real estate. It happens mainly because of this gap between the official circle rate and the actual market price.
The circle rate being the government minimum price for registration.
Exactly. It's meant to set a baseline for tax. But builders can register a sale at that lower circle rate and then take the rest of the payment, often a big chunk, in cash, under the table.
Ah, okay. So if a place is worth, say, 1 crore, but the circle rate is only 40 lakh.
They register at 40 lakh, the buyer pays the other 60 lakh in cash.
Got it. Saves tax for both sides.
But it completely distorts the market, it inflates prices overall, and it creates this honesty premium for regular salaried people who pay full taxes. They're at a huge disadvantage. They can't compete with buyers using cash who effectively get a lower registered price. Plus, it helps people launder money, and sellers avoid capital gains. Brokers sometimes fuel it too, creating artificial scarcity.
A murky aspect. And what about this thing called FSI, Floor Space Index? I hear that's a big factor too.
Oh, absolutely critical. FSI basically dictates how much you can build on a piece of land. It's a ratio. Total floor area divided by the plot area. And in India, especially in cities, it's tightly controlled by the government.
Lower than other places.
Significantly lower. Mumbai's FSI is around 5, Delhi maybe 3.5. Compare that globally, Tokyo can hit 20, Singapore 25, New York 15 plus. This low FSI directly limits how high and dense we can build. When you restrict supply so much in high demand areas, prices just have to go up. Scarcity drives them.
But isn't there a debate? Like if you just increase FSI, doesn't that strain infrastructure?
That's the crucial counter-argument, and it's valid. You can't just raise FSI without thinking about water, sewage, roads, transport, everything else. Those things absolutely need upgrading alongside any density increase. Otherwise, you just swap one problem for another. It needs coordinated planning.
It really is like dominoes, isn't it? One thing affects everything else.
Yeah.
Are there other big drivers behind this luxury boom, pricing others out?
Definitely.